Welcome to TCK 104, the Teaching Online Credential. Our goals for TCK this semester are to focus on things like interaction, engagement, copyright law, ADA compliance, and re-envisioning versus recreation of content. We have to start with you. We have to figure out what it is that you want to learn here, what it is that you want to focus on, allow you to customize TCK so that it covers the kinds of things that you're interested in. We will be talking about things like what role you play as the instructor in this new online environment. Do you see yourself differently here than you do in a face-to-face classroom? Or don't you see yourself differently? We're also going to talk about how Moodle plays a role in your online classroom, the kinds of options that you have, the kinds of activities that you can create so that your learning environment is as rich and interesting and engaging as your face-to-face classes. And then we're going to talk about things like feedback, how rubrics will allow students to understand what is expected of them thoroughly, and it gives you a way to talk to students with the language that you use in your classes in a way that they will also understand you. We're going to talk about things like FERPA, the privacy laws that protect student information, and things like copyright law and ADA compliance, making sure that when you use videos in your classes that students have access to a transcript so that if they're using a screen reader, they can still utilize the course content and so they're not missing out on anything. Part 3, we're going to focus on engaging students, making sure that the kinds of activities and the learning things that we create for them are rich and interesting, things that allow them to use the material to critically think about the kinds of content that you've presented to them. Re-envisioning content is different than just recreating it. We're not asking you to take your face-to-face class and just put it online. That's not really how online education works. Instead, we're going to ask you to think about the kinds of information that students need access to when they're participating in your online classes. Things like having the objectives clearly available, using text to direct students' attention to the appropriate content, giving them time commitments so that they know how much time they should be devoting to your class each week, and having the kind of points available in the scoring systems readily present in the course for them to be able to access whenever they're participating. These are the same kinds of things that you would have talked about in a face-to-face class. But here, because your students are accessing this material at various times, we need to make sure that students can see that information whenever they've logged into the learning management system. And for us, that's Moodle. We end in the same place we started, which is with you. We're going to be taking a look at the kinds of questions that you have, the various ideas that you're going to create and think about while you're participating in TCK. Are there things that you want to try? Are there options that you want to know more about? For instance, we've had people ask about putting hyperlinks into Moodle. Can you create them with text or images? How do you embed a video versus just providing a link to it? This is what we mean when we say that you can customize TCK to really be what you want. At the end of the course, we're going to give you a chance to do a workshop week where you can come in with an activity or a lesson plan in mind, and we can really talk about how you can re-envision that for online education. We're excited to get started, and we hope that you are too.